All right, welcome to The Brief. I'm Tony Bosworth, and it's all about net zero today and whether the Liberals will announce they are doing away with the aspiration by 2050 to get to a point where the country reaches the state in which the greenhouse gases going into the atmosphere are balanced by removal out of the atmosphere. Now, typically, this could be done in theory by switching as much as possible over to electric power, which in turn is produced by non-fossil fuels. Oh, and growing more carbon-sucking trees too. Now, coalition partners and nationals have already dumped any aims along those lines, at least by a set date, and the Liberals are split. The smart money is on them also dumping net zero today, but we shall see what form that takes. The papers all take a look at this, with the Australian turning to two of their top journos, Greg Brown and Jack Quayle, to pen the main front pager. High energy Liberals to work without a net. Get it? They have the National Daily uses a picture. The Aussies is by Martin Ullman at Newswire, which is on pretty much all of the front pages this morning. But the Oz couple it with a useful infographic, and you have to hand it to them. Their picture explainers are tops, with headshots of those against net zero, those for, and those about whom it is unclear which way they will vote. That infographic tells you more, though. It shows just how fractured the Liberals are on this crucial issue. Once a decision is officially announced today, expect there to still be ructions simmering, if indeed a ruction can simmer. The Oz also carries an interesting exclusive by Janet Albrechtson and Stephen Rice. Secret docs reveal alleged plot to stitch up Reynolds over Higgins, which revolves around Labour apparently getting involved in the Brittany Higgins saga when it came time to pay compensation. A, quote, secret cache of documents kicks that one off, and it's a really fascinating read. The Australian Financial Review also carries that picture of the Libs against net zero marching down a parliamentary corridor, the front row looking pretty happy with themselves. I was going to say they might not be so cheerful when progressive inner city voters desert them at the next federal election, but the Libs have so few of those seats left in their portfolio after the last drubbing, it's probably a moot point. I'm just going to change a typo here, my friends. Thank you. Liberals doubled down on a fiasco is a take by Jennifer Hewitt at The Fin, and political editor Philip Corey lays D-Day as Libs let net zero go, reckons it's a done deal, but points to the warnings from the federal secretariat, that's of the Liberal Party, that it risked further alienating that growing cohort of younger voters who support the party sorely needs to return to power. Amen. That's not all. The New South Wales Liberal leader Mark Speakman, it has been revealed in the Daily Telegraph, New South Wales Libs question leaders 2050 call, in a story by James Willis, has angered some colleagues apparently after saying the New South Wales Libs support the net zero 2050 course. Certainly not a barrel of fun times ahead for the feuding Liberals, it seems, but plenty of editorial inches coming, I'll wager. Both the Age and the Sydney Morning Herald carry that jauntily marching down the corridor picture, though each uses a slightly different frame, and the Metro paper pics were taken by their own Alex Ellinghausen, with that story written by Paul Sackle and Brittany Bush. In other news, meanwhile, back at the AFR, Angela McDonald-Smith follows up the story from earlier this week about the Waratah mega battery failure and reveals that the battery operator handed the contract didn't meet government criteria, which included having a track record of delivering such a project, which, given it's one of the world's biggest battery projects, might have been a good idea. Just another literal. And given the government is backing net zero, this is a poor show, because the battery would, and once sorted will, play a crucial role in lowering emissions. McDonald-Smith's story is well worth a read this morning. Now, Melbourne's crime wave is having an effect, that is for sure. And this morning, that story focuses on a decision by the state Labor government to give a tick to potential life sentences for kids aged 14 and above for violent crimes, like attacking somebody with a machete, which seems to be the weapon of choice for some of our second biggest city at the moment. Kids in jail, one word convinced Labour MPs, is the front page exclusive by the hard-working Chip Legrand, who's barely been off the front page this week, and Kieran Rooney, who has also made several appearances. It is a fascinating inside story because, as the pair report, some Labour MPs were stunned to read that a government that as recently as last year was advocating to raise the age of criminal responsibility to 14 was now proposing changes to sentencing laws which could result in those same 14-year-olds being jailed for life. As one unnamed MP, just an S on olds, as one, oh dear, it's early. As one unnamed MP told Legrand and Rooney, that's quite a journey. It is indeed, that's for sure. And clearly, violent crime in Melbourne is a huge issue. And as the journos point out, it's a growing political problem for a government seeking re-election next year. I know it's cynical, but there we have it, people. Melbourne's tabloid Herald Sun also leads big on the Victorian government's hard stance with a story by Carly Douglas and Brendan Kearns, with the paper not quite claiming all the credit but making the point the major overhaul follows the Herald Sun's 8-month Suburbs Under Siege campaign. Worth a bit of self-publicity if you can. And then we move on to Nick Mackenzie, and he's a Walkley Award-winning journalist, and once again he gets an exclusive on the Age's front page under the Building Bad logo, with yet another piece on the construction industry and the CFMEU union. CFMEU boss swings axe in clean out of toxic culture. It's a great story, complete with police scoops, a veteran union power broker amid charges of menacing and harassing behaviour. It's got it all, that one. And at the Daily Telegraph, another front page for Urban Affairs editor Jake McCallum. An exclusive on DA wait times been slashed by the New South Wales state government in an effort to get more houses built. Mum and dad developers will benefit, says McCallum in his first paragraph. Now, few of us mind mum and dad developers, the battlers, the people who just want a roof above their heads, people like you and I. But as McCallum reports, the new rules also apply to larger developers. You know, the ones who gobble up land and set NIMBYs on the warpath. And as seems to be the case at News Corp today, the telly is taking a pat on the back as well for its campaign to cut red tape. After the Daily Telegraph campaign telling the government to cut the act, writes McCallum. Though to be fair, he does say that was in tandem with developers and architects. And that's all today, folks. Have a super day and see you tomorrow for another exciting roundup. Take care out there.